Today, Bitcoin slips to the $102,000 range, even after the Trump administration says that it struck a deal with China to cut down on tariffs. American Bitcoin, the Bitcoin mining project backed by the president's eldest sons, plans to go public via merger. And BTC Inc's David Bailey shares why his own Bitcoin native company, Nakamoto, is merging with a publicly traded healthcare firm. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Crypto markets are mixed this morning as investors digest the latest trade news from the Trump administration. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin slipped 1.5% to the $102,000 level, even after the Trump White House announced that it struck a deal with China to cut down on tariffs. Ether, meanwhile, climbed just about 1%, trading at $2,486, and XRP jumped more than 10% to $259. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Coinbase Institutional's head of strategy argues recent Bitcoin flows indicate a correlation to gold. John D'Agostino joined Squawk Box this morning, where he highlighted an explosion in Bitcoin ETF flows in recent weeks.
Bitcoin miners cannot produce Bitcoin as fast as this overwhelming demand. So I don't think it's appropriate to view it as a tech stock in the tech bundle. Whether you view it as a commodity like gold is somewhat subjective. I like to look at it that way.
Now, as of today, Bitcoin holding ETFs have $123 billion in total assets under management, according to data by CoinGlass. That's compared to less than $100 billion just a month ago. Next, crypto custody firm BitGo just got its EU regulatory clearance. The company announced today that it received its MiCA license through Germany, where it's held its European headquarters in Frankfurt since 2023. Now, this would allow BitGo to offer crypto services across the EU, which have been regulated since the region's crypto rules took full effect in December of 2024. BitGo is one of the largest crypto custody firms in the world, with more than $48 billion in staked assets and more than $100 billion in assets under custody as of February. Last, American Bitcoin, the crypto mining project backed by President Trump's sons Eric and Don Jr., is going public. The company announced a deal to list on the Nasdaq through an all-stock merger with Gryphon Digital Mining. The combined company will keep the name American Bitcoin and trade under the ticker ABTC. Now, under the deal, which is expected to close in the third quarter of this year, existing stockholders of American Bitcoin, including Trump's eldest sons, will own 98% of the new company. By around midday, shares of Gryphon surged 175% on the news. All right, let's talk about another Bitcoin company's deal to go public for our main story. Nakamoto, the Bitcoin native firm launched by BTC Inc. CEO David Bailey just last week, announced today that it's merging with healthcare company KindlyMD. The announcement said the new entity's goal will be to accumulate Bitcoin and grow the Bitcoin owned on a per-share basis through equity, debt, and other offerings. Shares of KindlyMD soared by 276% in midday after the announcement. Now, this morning I spoke to David Bailey to learn more about the strategy behind this deal. Okay, so let's start with the news we just heard today. Your Bitcoin holding company, Nakamoto, merging with healthcare services brand KindlyMD to create a Bitcoin treasury strategy. Tell me about why you chose KindlyMD for this merger and what it means for Nakamoto, which only just launched.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on. And the partnership with KindlyMD made a lot of sense for several reasons. First off, we were able to find a great management team that shared our vision and alignment for the Bitcoin treasury strategy. And we wanted to get access to the best capital market in the world, which is right here in the United States, the NASDAQ. So the vehicle made sense and the team made sense. And I think it's going to be a transformational partnership.
Now, you mentioned building an ecosystem of Bitcoin native companies around the world, including in Brazil, Thailand, and South Africa. Can you elaborate on how you plan to do that and where else you're in talks to potentially expand the business?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, Bitcoin is having a mainstream moment right now. It is truly becoming a mainstream asset in the capital markets. And, I want to say thank you to Michael Saylor for pioneering that effort. But, we are wanting to take it to the next level. So, flattery is the best form of compliment. So we are MicroStrategy squared. What we are trying to do is build a portfolio of Bitcoin treasury companies in capital markets globally. We want to have one vehicle that investors can buy in every major capital market. So we've already done deals in Japan, Hong Kong, but we're looking at new opportunities in Brazil, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, in Turkey. if investors are excited about bringing Bitcoin to each of these capital markets and being a gateway for investors, we want to make Nakamoto the mothership where they can get access to these opportunities by being a shareholder of Nakamoto.
Now, last week, this fund had $300 million in equity and $100 million in convertible debt, and that was Wednesday. So here we are Monday. Did the leaked news of this deal give you a bump of $200 million more dollars in equity and another $100 million in convertible debt?
I think it really is just a signal about this moment for Bitcoin in the capital markets. The momentum was very strong. We went from the first commitment into this transaction roughly 3 weeks ago to $710 million in 3 weeks. So the momentum has been quite strong. I mean, we originally went to market expecting to raise $100 million. And we're very pleased with the reaction. I think it's a testament to Bitcoin's moment, Bitcoin's price. And also, we've really built an incredible track record of executing the strategy, and the market wants to be involved.
Now, obviously, more companies are adopting a Bitcoin strategy. You have Strategy from Michael Saylor, which we just talked about a minute ago, 21, which is led by Jack Mallers, and Nakamoto / KindlyMD. How do you plan to differentiate yourself from those other businesses for investors who are looking for exposure?
Yeah, well, I think it's exactly what I just described. I mean, we want to take Bitcoin to every capital market. We want to wrap Bitcoin into every different form and structure that an investor wants to buy. I think what one of many things that Saylor pioneered is, if you want to sell someone Bitcoin, you need to put it in a form and fashion that they're able to buy. You have to meet the buyer where they are. And so if you're a Japanese equity investor, you need to have access to a Japanese equity that has Bitcoin exposure. If you're, a debt buyer out of Istanbul, then, we need to have a debt structure that's trading in Turkey. So I think that is what's really unique about this transaction. And I think we also have a very unique strategic partnership with BTC Inc., which is the world's largest Bitcoin media company. And I think it gives us unique insight into the global market and what opportunities are coming.
Now, what does Bitcoin yield actually mean in practice? Are you simply holding Bitcoin on the balance sheet, or are you actively leveraging it?
So we're doing both. I think when we talk Bitcoin yield, what we're saying is increasing the amount of Bitcoin per share. And there's two ways to do that at the end of the day, outside of leverage. It's selling shares to buy Bitcoin if you're trading at a premium to the Bitcoin on your balance sheet, or it's selling Bitcoin to buy shares if you're trading at a discount to the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So we'll do either. All we care about is that our shareholders are getting more Bitcoin per share as they hold our shares, and that's what they're going to measure performance by. We think also our MicroStrategy squared approach of underwriting these opportunities globally is going to allow us to compound the growth of our balance sheet at a faster pace than really anyone else out there in the market. And I think that's going to result in the highest Bitcoin yield number that's out there as well.
Now, this is something I asked Jack Mallers last week as well, but how do you differentiate yourself from other Bitcoin investment vehicles that have come up, like those spot Bitcoin ETFs?
Well, I think a Bitcoin treasury company is a very different product than a spot Bitcoin ETF. I think that they definitely can take on more risk. They have access to more types of capital. They're just really not the same type of vehicle. So it's the opportunity to actively manage the Bitcoin that we have on the balance sheet and deploy it in a way that is maximally accretive to the shareholders.
Looking ahead to Bitcoin 2025, that's in just a few weeks. The conference played a pretty pivotal role for President Trump in last year's election. He courted the crypto community pretty hard, and Bitcoiners in particular. This year you have the vice president attending. But how do you expect the conference to play a role in engaging with the Trump administration for the Bitcoin community? What are you conveying to the administration?
Yeah, well, I think the Bitcoin conference has really become the number one preeminent platform for the world to interact and engage with the Bitcoin community. It's the largest Bitcoin or crypto, or I think even finance event in the world. We're expecting over 30,000 attendees this year. And so, the president had a very ambitious platform that he laid out at last year's conference. He has delivered on most of those promises, if not just about all of them. And so I think, really what this conference this year represents is an opportunity to talk about what's next. Like, we've achieved way more than we thought we would ever achieve when we were in Nashville last year. And so now what's the vision for America becoming the global Bitcoin superpower now that we've worked through that checklist.
Now, you've been described as a key cryptocurrency advisor to the president. Can you clarify your relationship with Donald Trump and the nature of your advice to him now?
I would say I'm a massive supporter. I'm a massive fan. I'm very thankful for everything that he's done for the Bitcoin community. And, as it relates to Bitcoin, if he ever has a question or a need, he's welcome to call me anytime. But, at this point, he has an amazing team he's put together, and we're very confident and bullish on his administration as it relates to Bitcoin. So I'd put myself in the category of super fan.
And two of Trump's sons are invested in American Bitcoin, and we just found out today that they're going to be listing on the NASDAQ. So I was also reporting on that as I was reporting about your listing that's imminent. Any comment about this new venture and the fact that they're going public at roughly the same timeline as you?
Yeah, well, first off, congratulations. I know this is something that a lot of effort and energy went into to make happen. I think that Bitcoin mining is in a very interesting and unique spot right now. As Bitcoin is going mainstream in capital markets, it's also going mainstream with, I think, sovereign powers. And while maybe it's a little bit more rare for a country to be buying Bitcoin, it has really become a mainstream thing for countries to start mining Bitcoin. There's dozens of countries that have industrial scale Bitcoin mining happening. And I think American Bitcoin has a very unique opportunity to be the U.S. champion of that cause, and I'm bullish on what they're doing. I intend to invest. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see the Trump family go deeper and deeper down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, as we call it. I think Bitcoin is the number one opportunity for America, and we want to see the Trump family lean in as much as possible.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.